Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
Defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kida Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. As always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. How y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. Yes, I am running a little late. This day just kind of creeped on past. Holy crap, it really did. And I'm kind of hoping everything is working right. I kind of did something stupid over there on the YouTube side. But I think, at least it looks like it's going. So that's a plus. That's a bonus. Otherwise, everything else should be good. I was trying to check Twitter before I went live here, and I don't even know. I don't even know. I have no idea if I'm actually live on Twitter. I have no idea. I guess I'll check it later. I don't know. But yeah, so how y'all's doing? And hello, Brian, over there in a YouTube lane. He says, "Que pasa, amigo?" Not much. I had to think about that for a second. Holy crap, that's horrible. So yes, we have quite a bit to talk about today. We really do. You know what? I actually just found out something earlier. I found out that you can actually comment on articles that I put into my magazine, and like I get those notifications on stuff. Who knew? I mean, I had absolutely no idea. And then it was like, hey, you have a comment on something. I was like, okay, let me check that out. So yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I've been using Flipboard for a while. I really have been. And they've been making some changes in their stuff, some good, some bad. There was a bug in it a while back ago. They fixed it, which is still broken, by the way, but hey, they tried, and they did actually update something, which I actually think is a neat update to it. Kind of like unnecessary, because how they did it before, it worked. It did the exact same thing. Now there's an extra button that you got to press in order to get things done. But, whatever. It is what it is. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'll click that extra button. But yeah, it's pretty spiffy. Anyway, maybe we should go ahead and slide into it. Oh, yeah, and by the way, my voice still is not back 100%. It'll crack, I'm sure, from time to time during the show. But, you have that. It's a heck of a lot better than what it was, though. That is for sure. So let's go ahead and get some stuff going and open. And I did not open stuff up prior. I've been like speeding trying to get this stuff done. But anyway, let's start off with this article right here from Ayer. I have no idea. Anyway, from AIER, supply, demand, and inflation, the big picture. And yeah, my thing that I put on this article was inflation is caused by government. It is. It's not caused by producers. It's not caused by consumers. It is caused by government, because they are the only ones that has the power to affect currency. Okay? They're the only ones that has the ability to affect currency. Why? Because they have control over the printing press. They have control over everything else. And there's been some stuff next week's show. All right. Next week's show, I'm going to be bringing out some numbers and looking at some things in our stinking spending policy, because there's something that this is actually attached to, this article, that I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. Okay, I think it's actually like the next. No, it's not. No, it's not. But it's in there. It's in the stuff that is going to be discussed in this episode, dealing with the currency, dealing with some of the stuff that has been going on in government, and why it's like, what the heck are they doing is a huge question as far as, the big picture and all this, the big picture, as what's on this article right here. But, it's an aspect of, going back to the article, it's an aspect of the government is the only ones that can truly affect inflation. I mean, think about this, guys. Okay. Now, we've talked about inflation on previous episodes. Okay. We've talked about this. And I can't take the credit for this analysis whatsoever. I can't take the credit for, putting these two things together. Okay. In fact, this was done by Andrew Wilkow, the Wilkow Majority, Sirius XM channel 125, the Patriot channel. I definitely recommend checking him out. The man knows what he's talking about. He is on from 11 to 2 p.m. That is Central Standard Time. Again, what name did I say? I have no idea. Andrew Wilkow, the Wilkow Majority. If that's not what I said the first time, that's what I meant. But his analysis was simple, okay? You take this. This is a one-shot little bitty bottle of Crown Royal Vanilla, okay? Now, this is a 1-to-1 inflation ratio, okay? Let's just look at it like that. It's a 1-to-1, okay? 1 ounce of this has got, whatever proof of alcohol that's in it, okay? And there you go. And it's going to give you 1 ounce worth of drunkenness in that. Okay. Inflation works like this. You pour out the contents of this bottle and you put it into this bottle. Now, this is a, whatever. I don't even know how many ounces are in here. It doesn't say. Why don't you say? Why don't you say? I don't know. What size is this bottle? It's another bottle of Crown Royal. But anyway, let's just say it's a fifth. Okay, we're going from 1 shot to a fifth. So this is, let's just say, what, $2, $5 at a bar. I have no idea. I don't go to bars very often. But let's just call this $1. Okay, this 1 shot, 1 ounce shot is $1, and it's going to get you 1 shot worth of drunk. Okay, there you go, 1 shot worth of drunk. Now you pour, the fifth. This ain't a fifth. I don't think it's a fifth. I have no idea. I speak American, and that's not exactly. I don't know. Anyway, but you pour the contents of this into here, and then you fill it the rest of the way up with water. And then, this is $1. This right here, this 1 ounce, this is $1. And then you pour out 1 ounce, and you still charge $1. Now, here's the thing. Brian puts in here, he goes, ask Brandon, I'll bet he knows. I bet he does too, but I'm not going to call him up and ask him on this one. But yeah, so you're going to have to drink this entire bottle, the complete fifth. This isn't a fifth, but the complete fifth worth at $1 an ounce in order to get the exact same amount of drunk that you would on this. That's how inflation works. It is diluted by the printing press. And hello, Josh, over there in YouTube land. He goes, what's up, ho-ho? Not much, man. How are you doing? Hope you're doing good. I really do. So, yeah, that's how inflation works, okay? And here's what's been going on. Ever since the left in this country started shutting down the economy and then doing all of these bailouts for not just the people, but for all of their, pork spending and whatnot that was attached to these. Now one of them, and I know I talked about this at the time, but one of them, only 10% of the spending of the entire bill, which is supposed to be COVID relief, was actually spent on the people. The rest of the money went to all these different various organizations, even gender studies in Pakistan. And it's like, holy crap, and we wonder why now we're dealing with inflation the way that we are. We had the economy shut down. We weren't producing near as much. We weren't, we were still spending because we started giving people money. So the economy was being flooded with money that didn't come naturally in the economy. It wasn't through the natural order of things, how things are supposed to go. It was done by the whims of government printing money, trying to, do what they could to alleviate the impact of what was going on. And now we have record inflation because they have to, they have to do it to bring the levels back down. They have to raise the interest rates because they have to get rid of the excess money that's in the economy that didn't come from supply and demand. It didn't come from, people working. It didn't come from people consuming and then having to produce based off of what was being consumed. It didn't come naturally. It was money that was just arbitrarily thrown into the economy without, with no regard for what was going to happen. And here's the thing. They knew what was going to happen. Whenever they passed these spending bills, they knew what was going to happen. But they thought, in a matter of speaking, that they would be able to circumvent this, lessen the impact, because where did most of the money go? It didn't go to the people. It went to various organizations, donors of the Democrats and people whom agree with the Democrats. It went to countries overseas. I mean, holy crap, we haven't slowed down whatsoever our spending of giving other countries money through all this. And we'll actually touch base more on that a little later because I've got some stuff to talk about on that one. But anyway, the government is the only ones that can affect inflation. Why? Because they've been printing and printing and printing. And even though it's not exactly printing, it's all stuff that's done by ones and zeros, through banking and everything else. But that's why things are going up. Is because of their stupid, stinking policies. Holy crap. And why people don't understand this, I don't know. We really do need to teach, economics and civics way better in this country. We really do. And I don't want to say it's the fault of, all right, now before you yell at me. Okay, before you yell at me, hear me out. It's not necessarily the fault of educators. It's not really the fault of the education system per se. It's the fault of government. Because government is the ones whom are in control of education. They're the ones who determine, who dictate what is taught in our schools. So if we're not happy with what's being taught, if we're not happy that our children don't understand basics of the economy, of government, civics, how things work, who's to blame? The teachers, who only teach what the government tells them to. the students or the ones who are actually dictating what is being taught in schools. I mean, it's not public education. It's government education. They're the ones to blame. They're absolutely the ones to blame. You know, Brian puts in here, he goes, it's the fault of the educators going along with the corrupt system that the federal government has created. Yes and no. You know, there are some educators out there that, yeah, I mean, they go along, they do everything, you know, they absolutely do. You know, they've been protected by the system. They've gone along with everything, but not entirely. You know, I mean, okay. I agree with you, yes, because a lot of the good educators have been pushed out because they can no longer teach the way they feel they should be able to teach. And even still, I mean, you go into, and Brian, as he goes, they're all guilty. And you know, they are. You know, but I mean, it's an aspect of what do you have to do in order to become an educator? You got to get educated. You got to go to college. What's college? Nothing more than a school for indoctrination. It's not about education. It's about indoctrination. You know, but look at the old school teachers that were there whenever, you know, we were growing up. You know, the old school educators that were in there that truly cared about what they were doing, understood that their job was to educate, not indoctrinate. You know, educators that truly cared about and wanted to educate and cared about what they were educating, all of that. Those old school educators have been pushed out by a system that really didn't want them anyway. Why? Because they didn't go through the system and get indoctrinated the way these younger generation has. And in a matter of speaking, that's what I think a lot of it amounts to. You know, it's a school of indoctrination from top to bottom. You know, I mean, it's amazing it's an aspect of what came first, you know, because this indoctrination came from the top and worked its way down. It didn't start at the bottom and work their way up. It started at the top, worked their way down, because it was whenever they decided to indoctrinate at the top levels that they were able to put these people whom they have already indoctrinated, put them down and start teaching at the lower levels. But you are right. They are all guilty. It is the fault of the educators, but at the same time, it's the fault of the system that decided they wanted people to remain ignorant about truth. They wanted them to be ignorant. Why is that? Because if they teach them truth in economics, if they taught them truth in civics, then we would know with a lot clearer eyes what's going on. Call the government out on their Bravo Sierra. And another aspect of this is, if we don't know what our freedoms are, if we don't know what the limitations on government is supposed to be, how can we fight against it? If we don't know what our freedoms are supposed to be, how are we going to fight to keep them? If we don't know the limitations supposed to be placed on government, even though it's a really small, really easy, you know, written for dummies. We don't need the Constitution for idiots because we already have that. It's a small document. It was already written for idiots. It wasn't written with convoluted, really big words. You know, why use 100 words whenever 10 will do? And that's what they did. If we don't know our freedoms, the limitations that has been placed on government, then we can't hold government accountable because we're too stupid, because we wasn't educated. And I think it was done by design. It was absolutely done by design. I mean, I can't say I think it was done by design. No. It was done by design. It was absolutely done by design. So let's go ahead and move on. Should I take a break before I go into this? Yeah, I think we will. get the state, federal government out of education. I let the local systems do the job. But here's the thing, though, Brian. I mean, it's not the state. Hold on, let me read that again. Get the state, federal government out of education. I let the local systems do the job. Okay. Here's the problem, though. Okay, state, I understand what you're saying, and yes, I do agree. I very much agree. Okay. But at the same time, it's the federal government needs to completely be done away with. The federal government's involvement in education, as in the Department of Education on the federal side, needs to be done away with. It absolutely does. It's unconstitutional and should be completely done away with. However, I agree with you that it should be, done more locally. Absolutely. But I can't disagree with it being under the control of the state, because that's at least constitutional. But absolutely, the federal government should step aside completely and 100%. It is not within the purview, as of the 10th Amendment, all powers not specifically given to the federal government are reserved to the states and the people thereof, or to the people. So, yeah, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that the Department of Education is a thing, that the education belongs to the federal government to decide. In fact, the Department of Education has only been around since 1978. It's a new concept. It's a very new concept. It should go back under the control of the states, and the Department of Education on the federal level should be dissolved and done away with. Absolutely. It would be nice if it was, not limited to state control, that they would give more control, more freedom to, individual, localities. And I definitely agree with you on that. But at the same time, it's still an aspect of, and this was the whole reason behind why the federal government got into this in the first place, was because they wanted to standardize education. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to standardize it to where, everybody across the entire nation was more or less on the same level of education as anybody else in there. I mean, you wouldn't have to ask for somebody's, credentials on where they were educated in order to know just how intelligent somebody is. Which at the same time, it's like, why does that matter whenever you still have to give your credentials, your pedigree, whenever it's, I went to college? Because we all know that, you get a different level of education from Harvard versus, Lincoln Land. You're getting a different education. They're not equal. One is government college. The other is a private college, Harvard. So I mean, why would it matter? I kind of talked myself in circles on that one. I agree with you. Let's give it back to local, and it should be. It definitely should be out of the hands of the federal government. Abso-freaking-lutely, they got no business doing it. They're not supposed to be doing it, which is why they can't run it for shit. They suck at it. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we return, we are going to get into the Twitterverse. We're going into the Twitterverse. We're going to be talking about, what has been going on over in Twitter. Some bans that has been going on. And the response of these, I think, is absolutely hilarious. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't exactly happy whenever I found out about what Elon Musk's response was to the backlash. More on that on the other side of the break.
Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs.
All right, and we are back. And before I continue into the next segment, I got to go back to the comments. Brian put in here, he goes, being local means that we have more input and more control over what's being said and done. And you're absolutely right. You know, definitely more input and more control. I couldn't agree with you more. And part of the problem is, and has been for a while, it is the participation that a lot of parents has had. You know, some parents are way more, involved and are way more knowledgeable over what is being taught to their kids. And in a lot of ways, we just kind of trusted that they were teaching what we wanted to teach them. And there was a lot of people that just didn't know. They weren't as involved. And that's one of the things that really brought light to what was going on in the schools was COVID, the COVID lockdown, the remote learning. That shined a very big light onto what was being taught to our children. And that's why we've been seeing a lot of the backlash that we have today, is because of the light was shined. Parents found out and weren't very happy with it. But I completely agree with you. Being local means that we are going to have way more control over what's being done. And I couldn't agree with you more. You are absolutely right on that. So moving on. This headline is from the New York Post. And I had to, this next thing, I absolutely had to laugh. And this was actually one of the comments that somebody put on a post that I did on Flipboard. Yeah, that place over there. So headline. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to turn that off before I go too much further into that. Turn that off. There we go. And liberal journalists suddenly care about Twitter censorship because they're the ones banned. Absolutely. I had to laugh about this because that was so stinking true. So for those of you that don't know, here's what happened. Okay. Somebody out there thought it would be a good idea to, share the movements of Elon Musk. Okay. Somebody thought that would be a good idea. Somebody thought, we should be able to do this. We should absolutely be able to do this. Oh, I already have that one up. Okay. And this article from I guess, the subreddit placing the banned Elon Jet Twitter account is massively popular. So that, that just kind of gives a little bit of backstory into what was actually shared, because this Elon Jet, is what somebody did and here's the thing, you can do this. All right. One of the arguments that I heard on this is that anybody can be tracked like this. Traffic cams, the same thing that they're doing to Elon Musk, because what they're doing is they found out, the tail fin number of his plane. And here's the thing. If the flight that somebody's on, if you have their tail number of that plane, whether it be commercial or private, you can see exactly where that plane is in the air. You can find out, you can track down where they're at. That goes with every plane. Private, commercial, doesn't matter. So, if you know what flight they're on, there you go. You can get on a map, you can put that info in, and it'll tell you not just that. I mean, you can see every single plane in the sky. Heck, I have a flight sim. I use X-Plane 11. Yeah, X-Plane 11. And there's a plug-in that I can put in X-Plane 11, which is a 1-to-1 ratio global flight simulator. If it takes 1 hour to fly from here to there, in real life, it takes 1 hour to fly there in the simulator. It's a 1-to-1 ratio global flight simulator. There's a plugin I can put in there that will show me each and every flight in the sky. Actual modeled plane flying right where that actually is. I can do that in this flight sim. It's not hard to do. It's a simple plugin. You input, there you go, and everything is modeled real life. The size of the plane, all kinds of stuff. And I can see exactly where it's at from takeoff to landing. Not necessarily movement, on the ground. It's modeled, but at the same time, it's flight in the sky. All that information can be found out, is easy. It's something that is free. There you go. It's not hard to do. Okay. Now, one of the arguments that I heard on this was everybody has to deal with this. Everybody has to deal with this. And I'm like, not exactly. Not to the point that this person said. I mean, this person said, traffic cam footage, this, that, and the other. Everybody can be tracked in the exact same way. So, what's special about this? And I'm like, well, no, not exactly. Because if you don't know what flight I'm on, you don't know what plane to track. If you don't know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, you don't know the departure and landing times, then no, you can't track me because this is commercial flight. It's not private flight. But with, Elon Musk, he owns a plane. The tail number. You can find out exactly where it's at. That's different. And then he mentioned traffic cam. I'm like, dude, an average citizen just can't look up a traffic cam footage and track somebody and see exactly where they're going, where they're coming from, using, somebody's license plate number. Doesn't work like that. An average citizen can't do that. The police can. But if you're not a cop, if you are an average citizen, no, you can't just track somebody like that. So that is why Elon Musk suspended these accounts on Twitter, was because, this Elon Jet Twitter, a popular account, it went against Twitter policy. This wasn't something that he was mad about and said, no, I'm not going to do this. It actually did go against Twitter policy for tracking somebody, for stalking somebody. It is and does go against company policy. Yes, he was kind of ticked off about this being put on there. And pre-Elon Musk, even though it was against their policy pre-Elon Musk, because it did go against company policy, they didn't enforce it until Elon Musk showed up and he's like, hey, you know what? I don't really like this. And it does go against company policy. I'm not adding something that doesn't already exist. I'm just going to enforce it now. And that's what Musk did. He enforced it. The left is ticked off because just like what this headline says, they're the ones getting banned. That's why they're ticked off about this. Oh, they like censorship. They like the cancel culture because it's not them that's getting canceled. They don't like it when it gets applied to them. And go into this article from KPBS. Elon Musk reinstates suspended journalists on Twitter after a backlash. And then also this one from Politico, Musk reinstates majority of suspended journalists' accounts. And then we also have, nope, not that one. So yeah, a few different headlines basically say the same thing. And I'm going to tell you what, okay? We already know that's not the right one. We already know from how things have occurred in the past that cancel culture doesn't care if you, after the fact, do what they wanted you to do in the first place. They're still going to cancel you. You're still going to get fired. You're still going to get boycotted. You're still going to get the backlash. It's still going to happen. You're not going to, you're not going to slay the cancel culture beast. Once it has awakened and once its sights are set on you, there's nothing you can do until they have, the mob that is cancel culture has the result that they want. That's just a fact of the matter. We've seen this play out time and time again. Somebody says or does something that, the woke mob doesn't like, then it's attack. And then you apologize for what you said. And if you are somebody, and actually I can't even completely say this because it's happened on both sides of the political aisle. There has been people on the left that said and did something that the woke mob didn't like, and they got fired because of it. But it has been and is very common for things with people on the right to go by the wayside. Or, I'm sorry, people on the right to, it doesn't matter, you're getting buried. Now, it is a fact of the matter that whenever it comes to people on the left, they're way more lenient. You can do and say quite a bit more and get away with it. Way more than anybody on the political right. It's just the way that it is. It's just the way that it is. And considering we've already seen it play out, that when you are on the political right and you do or say something that the mob doesn't like, it doesn't matter if you apologize. They're not going to stop until, figuratively, they bury you. So I don't know why Elon Musk caved to the backlash. I don't know how much defending his policy, defending his position. Again, a policy that existed prior to Musk owning Twitter. But I don't know how much defending his policy he did. I don't know why he gave in to what the woke mob wanted him to do. I really don't know why. That's something that I think Elon Musk did completely and utterly wrong. He shouldn't have done it. He's not going to gain favor. He's not going to gain favor at all. And whenever you give a little, then the political left, the woke mob, they're going to try to take a lot. You guys have heard the saying, you give them an inch, they take a mile. It's what they're going to do. They are going to, next time, because this was a victory for them, they're going to capitalize on it, and they're going to keep hitting. And they're not going to stop hitting. That's how the political left does it. There is no way in hell, excuse me, there's no way in hell I would have reinstated any of these accounts until they made some sort of public apology for violating the policy that Twitter had, until they made some sort of, direct apology to Elon Musk, to Twitter, to what have you, there's no way that I would have reinstated any of them. There's no way, because here's the thing, what have they been telling us for years? You don't like it, get out, make your own insert name here of whatever social media it is, whether it be a YouTube, whether it be a Facebook, or whether it be a Twitter when Dorsey was running it. That's what they told us from time and time again. We've tried multiple times. What did they do? They shut it down. Rumble, they tried to shut it down. Actually, they did shut it down. It came back. Twitter, what are they trying to do now? They've actually done a more left-leaning Twitter. They're very upset that Elon Musk is bringing back free speech. Something that I thought social media is supposed to be about, a platform was supposed to be about in the first place. Yeah, whatever. There's no way that I would have, bowed to them. This article from Hot Air. I kind of had to laugh at this because, we talked about this during the last episode. You always heard about, the Twitter files, the things from the laptop that shall not be named, and the election that cannot be talked about. 64% believe that Twitter engaged in a political censorship, interference in the 2020 elections, and 74% want prosecutions. And here's the problem. We're never going to see these prosecutions. I want prosecutions too, but it ain't never going to happen. It's never going to happen. All this crap is one-sided. It has been one-sided since day one. It's never going to happen. Absolutely, positively ain't never going to happen. Yes. Why this thing started off with the 64 believe that Twitter engaged in political censorship. I don't just believe that Twitter engaged in political censorship. I know that they did. I mean, that's what these whole Twitter files was about, right? It was proving that the federal government colluded. I don't even know if that's exactly the right term, but they definitely, collaborated with Twitter, with Facebook on censoring articles that they knew from the very beginning were legitimate. Not just the federal government, the FBI knew because they had it for months, this laptop. They had already investigated it. They knew what it was. They knew exactly what it was. And they participated in covering the thing up, political censorship, to specifically and directly interfere and change the results of the 2020 elections. Now I'm definitely getting, this one's going to be banned on YouTube, just so you guys know. It's going to be shut down here again. So, next week, or in fact, you're better off heading over to YouTube and actually, you know what? Just go to thehohoshow.com. And in there is a link to my secondary YouTube account, which I will be on next week, because I'm sure that because I'm talking about this, it's going to get banned. It's going to get banned. I can flat tell you that right now. Anytime I talk about the 2020 elections, they're like, you can't talk about that. Even though what I'm talking about is completely 100% accurate, I back that up with facts. They don't care because it ain't about facts. It's about narrative. That's what it's about. So yeah, next week I am not going to be here. You're going to have to head on over to the Ho Ho Show Part 2 and pick up the show over there on that side. There you go. But it is a complete, it's a fact. Enough people were polled and said that yes, if I knew about the laptop prior to the election, that would have changed my vote. That was enough people. They ran the numbers. It would have changed the outcome of the election. It was enough. the FBI, the federal government, knew this laptop was legit and chose to interfere, chose to silence the story on behalf of the Democrats and Biden. It's pure and simple. They knew what they were doing. Twitter and Facebook chose to help because it was politically motivated, a politically motivated decision, and that's what they did. You know, people have talked out and said that, oh, we operated under the best information that we had at the time. How could we have possibly, done anything any different? Okay, wait a second. You claim that you can't run articles whenever you have potential hacking that took place. Okay. There's two things onto this. One, you guys are perfectly okay with running information against Republicans that you know for a fact, even according to the story that you get it from, that it was hacked information. Information that was not supposed to be made public. They had no right to make it public. I mean, how many times have we seen this or that was released by this entity or that entity? That's a violation of the guidelines that they have, but yet still they decide to do it. Why? Because it goes against the Republicans to benefit the Democrats, and that's why they choose to do it. They go against their own guidelines time and time again, and, in a lot of cases, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but with me, it's not exactly the idea that they have these different censorship things and these different policies. It's how they implement them, because it's always one-sided. If there is a mistake that happens, it's a mistake every single time that benefits a Democrat and sticks it to a Republican. Every single time. Now, I mean, if it went either way, then, okay, I'll go along with maybe it was a mistake. But when every single time, I mean, not 99% of the time, not 99% of the time, 100% of the time, it benefits Democrats, it sticks it to the Republicans, and they try to say that it's a mistake. Bullshit. Because if it was a mistake, it wouldn't have happened like that. Anyway. That's what we see going on time and time again. Outright violation of policies, and they let slide because it benefits the Democrats, it sticks it to the Republicans, and that's what they do. And then you have this Hunter Biden laptop, and then all of a sudden, we care about something, information that may have been leaked because it was hacked. We can't be having that. Oh no, we have policies, and these policies need to be upheld. Wait a second, you didn't give a shit about it 2 minutes ago whenever it was going against the Republican. Why do you care about it now whenever it goes against the Democrat? Squeeze me a baking powder. And they wonder why we have issues. I mean, I would ask the stupid question, do they not understand their own hypocrisy? They do. They do. They don't care. They don't care because they know that deep down inside, the American people are freaking stupid. They know that there's going to be no backlash on anything that they do, what goes on, anything. They know this already. They've gotten away, literally have gotten away with murder time and time again. You think they care about, interfering in an election? You think they care? They don't. It doesn't matter to them. Where's the backlash? It's never going to happen. Not until the American people put their freaking foot down and decide enough is enough. It ain't going to happen. And when is enough going to be enough? What is it that a Democrat has to get away with before we stop letting them get away with it? I mean, it's impossible. got to be careful how I word this. It's impossible for one person and one person alone to make a difference. It is. You know, whenever you are a drop of red dye in an ocean of blue, then you're not going to change the color of the water. But what we need to understand, and this isn't a Republican thing, this is a conservative thing. What we need to understand and what we need to wake up to. And this is why that the left does class warfare and race warfare. And you name the warfare, that's exactly why they do this. Because they know that divided, we fall. They know this. A house divided cannot stand. They know this. If we ever link arms, if we quit listening to the noise that they put out time and time again, all the freaking time, they know that if we actually join hands, they lose. But even still, there are way more of us out there than what they would ever want to acknowledge. Why do you think they have opened up the border? It's to water down the voice of the patriot. It's exactly why they've done it. That, and I mean, deep down inside, they really do want to crash the economy. They want to kill the nation. They want to destroy America. That's why they're doing it. Because once critical mass is reached on the amount of people in this country that are sucking off of the government teat, once we've reached that, over 50% of the people sucking on the government teat that are not contributing tax dollars to the federal government, once you have over 50% of the population that is doing nothing more than receiving from the government and will vote for anything that keeps the money flowing, once they have that, once they reach that point of critical mass, they know that it's over. 200,000 illegal immigrants every single month. How long can we keep this going before we have lost the country? We've probably lost it already and just don't know it yet. Because once that happens, there's nothing we can do to stop it. It's a sinking ship. What are you going to do? Cancel funding? How? Whenever over 50% of the people out there wanting the handouts and are going to vote for the handout. Oh, you're going to keep giving me money? I don't care what you do. We're no longer going to have a voice. What are you going to do to stop it? And I'm not talking about one class of person. I'm not talking about one race of people. I'm not just talking about illegals. I'm talking about there's a lot more than just illegals out there sucking off the government teat. There's a lot more. If your relationship with government is a net positive, you don't pay taxes. What do I mean by that? Well, if through whatever you're participating in, whether it be food stamps, whether it be unemployment, whether it be whatever, if at the end of the year, whenever you're doing, or I'm sorry, April 15th, you're doing your taxes, if you get back more than you put in, you did not pay taxes. You were a recipient of tax dollars. That means that you are a beneficiary of tax dollars. That means that you are sucking off of the government teat. Mama, that's what you're doing. You're not paying taxes. If you have in a population, in a nation, more people receiving from government that then are contributing to government, then where does the money come from? I mean, I've heard this said, time and time again. The problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. Eventually you do. What happens after that? This took a weird turn, didn't it? It happens. Political censorship. They know they're winning. They're brazen. They're doing what they are doing. Well, let me rephrase this. They are doing what they used to do in the dark, behind closed doors, out in the open, in front of everybody. Because they do not fear the people. They don't fear you. They don't fear me. They used to do these things behind closed doors, in secret, in the dark. They're not anymore. They're being open, upfront, and honest about what's going on. They're telling us. Why? Because they know a couple things. They know, A, you can't stop them. You aren't going to do anything to stop them. And even if you tried, they would squash you because they're the ones that holds all the power. They don't care anymore. I mean, it really is that simple. They used to do these things in the dark. They don't anymore. They don't care. The left have always been, we believe in free speech as long as your speech, as long as you agree with me. If you are a voice of opposition, oh, no, that's hate speech. Well, what's hate speech? Well, whatever we say it is. Well, what if I think it's hate speech? We're the ones that are running the show. I don't care if you think it's hate speech. Doesn't matter. We run the show. It's what we think. And by the way, you questioning us is hate speech. You're now censored. Just for questioning. They say that, that's going to kill democracy. One, this is a republic, not a democracy. And two, healthy debate is exactly one of the things that the Constitution grants us, but it doesn't exactly grant us. The Constitution didn't give us free speech. The Constitution didn't give us the right to bear arms. The Constitution didn't give us the freedom of speech, religion, freedom of press, peaceably to assemble. The Constitution didn't give us any of these freedoms. But ho. No. Read your Constitution. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That means that these are rights that were given to us by the Creator. And it is up to the government to protect those rights. Didn't give us these rights. It's their job to protect those rights. Hello, read your Constitution. We are going to go ahead and take another quick break. And when I return, we are going to be talking about this whole border thing of what's going on down there. We're going to be talking a little bit about, what was that other thing I was going to talk about? Yeah, Biden, this border thing. And that's what we're going to be talking about when I get back. So just a couple minutes. Don't go nowhere. We're almost done. All right, and we are back. Whew. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Yes, that took me a minute. There we go. All right, so where am I wanting to go to? There's a couple things, actually, that I'm wanting to get into. Yeah, let's go here. Let's get into this right here. I had to do something, which is why I totally didn't have any of this stuff pulled up already. So let me get there. And all right, so we are going to talk about this whole border wall thing, this Title 42, all of this kind of crap. We're going to talk about it right quick. This headline from National Review. No, we're not starting. Well, yeah, I guess we will. Well, okay. I totally hit the wrong button somewhere over there on Facebook side. On the Vidya side, I apologize about that. That was not what was supposed to happen. I screwed up. Y'all's missed a couple. Well, you didn't miss much. So anyway, let's get back into it since I totally screwed that up. Holy cow. I don't even know what button I pressed and how I pressed it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm back. Hi. How you doing? Good to see you. So, y'all have heard about this whole Title 42 thing, which more or less is that whole remain in Mexico thing. Okay. And granted, there's a big stink on this, and the whole Title 42, it's about ready to go away, and there are fights going on right now to keep it active, to keep it going. But at the same time, and this is kind of what it amounts to, it doesn't matter if Title 42 goes anywhere. It doesn't matter. What have we had since Biden came into office? A throwing out of the Constitution. The Biden administration does not care about illegal immigration. With 200,000 people crossing every month, and that's the ones that we know of. That's not counting all of them that cross that we don't know about. Title 42 went out the window a long time ago. And they're saying that, after Title 42 goes away, there's going to be this huge influx. I question, no, there's not. Because ever since Biden took office, it's been known. The word was spread. The border is open. Come one, come all. I mean, I honestly don't think Title 42 going anywhere is going to make any difference whatsoever. It's not. But there has been some good news and bad news that has come out of this. Okay. This headline out of Fox News, I can speak, really, I can. Texas to resume border wall construction after reaching deals with private property owners, Abbott said. And I was like, woohoo, that's amazing. It's about stinking time. It's about time. But how far is it that they're actually going to go? Because Arizona has had some huge problems as well with illegal border crossings, to the point to where they started constructing their own border wall. But they did it a little bit more, I almost said constructively, but I mean, that's kind of redundant. But they did it with a little bit more finesse. They were using shipping containers in order to build a barrier. And Biden's administration, the Department of Justice, they are now suing Arizona for, are you ready for this one? Allegedly violating federal law. But the Department of Justice neglects to mention how Biden's gross violations of the federal law, because they don't care about that. I mean, yeah, he threw out the Constitution. That's one of the things, as per what the Constitution says, that the federal government is supposed to be doing, secure the border. Isn't that what the Department of Homeland Security is for? Defending the homeland, but yet are they doing anything? No, they don't care. And so the Department of Justice is suing Arizona for violating federal law, and of which case it's like, dude, if you guys are going to fail to act in securing the border, whether it be security, whether it be a wall, whatever it may be, if you're not going to do your job, you are forcing us to do it for you. Now, if I remember correctly, I don't know how it is, and I truly don't know how it is in either of these states. Okay. I do know, federally speaking, it is the job of the federal government to secure the borders of the union. Our national borders is up to the federal government to secure. That's what they are supposed to do. And I don't know exactly how it is as far as, I don't know exactly how it is in Arizona, but one of the things that I heard in Texas is that they reserve the right to do it their own selves. That's one of the things that they reserve the right to do in their own constitution. I don't know exactly how much of that it matters, but I mean, here's the thing. Here's one of the things that happened down in Texas. Okay. You had people, private landowners, who put barriers on their own property. And, the border patrols, instead of help secure the border and help these private citizen landowners out in securing their borders, is what they did was cut locks, cut chains, and opened up the gates and said, come one, come all, come in. Pass this barrier. You violated, you are trespassing. You cut chains. You opened a fence. What the heck? Saying, so with this whole Texas resuming border construction and border wall construction after reaching deals with private property owners, I really don't know how far this is going to fly because, one, and this is kind of how things are, land around a border belongs to the federal government. It doesn't, or at least it belongs to the federal government because it is the job of the federal government to put a wall there and defend. Okay. So I don't know how far inland they intend on going or is going to go, or even if they are able to technically do it, as far as Texas constructing of their border wall. If you know, let me know. I would be happy to find, or I'd be happy to figure that out, to be told. I haven't seen, I don't know. And it does say here that the Title 42 expires Wednesday. And this article was published today. Awesome. So we've got, we got Texas wanting to build the border wall. We got Arizona fabricating their own using shipping containers. The federal government, instead of getting on Biden for not doing his job, they're going on Arizona because they are doing their job for them. And the Department of Justice isn't happy with the states taking the security of our border into their own hands. They don't like that. Why? Because they want illegal border crossing. It is truly that simple. It is truly that simple. Moving on. The thing that I was going to be talking about. That's a good article for that. Let's see here. There's other ones. Oh, yeah. Biden administration suing Arizona governor over border wall. We talked about that one. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I want to talk about Biden. And there's a lot of stuff. Holy crap. And that one's a good one. And that one's a good one. Okay, so I am not sure if y'all are aware of this. All right, so this one is, will you get off of there? Not now. Okay. Okay, so this article is from, I ain't using that one. This article is from Axios. That's a good article to use. Biden to refill U.S. oil reserves after reaching lowest level in decades. After, using the excuse of Russia invading Ukraine to try to say that he isn't as incompetent, that he didn't have direct, or his policies isn't the one to blame for the raising oil prices, and using the oil reserve in order to help keep the price as low as possible before the election. Now that the election is over, they came up with a new idea. And it wasn't to help American workers, American industry. It wasn't to help our own oil pipeline people, any of that. It wasn't to help us out. It wasn't to help the U.S. Instead, what they're doing, what they decided to do, is buy oil from Venezuela. So now we're buying oil from Venezuela. And that is why we have had some dip in the price, because we're getting it cheaper than the global market futures. Apparently. I mean, that's my guess. So oil prices are going down. And now we're buying oil in order to help fill the reserves, filling it from where it was, or, where it dropped to and back up, and that's the thing too. It amazes me, because whenever oil prices were as low as they were, whenever Trump was president, when we were energy independent, whenever we were a net exporter of energy, former President Trump wanted to, increase the size of our oil reserves. He wanted to buy some oil at a cheaper price, because buy low, sell high. That's how it works. That's how you make money in business. You don't buy high and sell low. That's a really good, quick way to get out of business. But President Trump, being a businessman that hasn't spent his entire life sucking on the government teat like Biden has, he knows this. You buy low, you sell high. But former President Trump tried to increase the size of our oil reserves, and Congress wouldn't let him. It's like, hey, they're making enough money. We're not going to increase their profits even more by buying oil off of them. It's like, dude, but prices are low. I mean, shouldn't we increase the size of our national reserve? Shouldn't we do that? No, we can't do that. So now Biden's like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. The price difference between them is pretty massive. It's amazing how, economically smart these people are in government. It's amazing, But I mean, let's face it, it's not their money. They don't care. And we'll talk about this next week, because there are some numbers, some facts and figures that I heard, and I want to take it a few steps further by adding some context to a lot of the numbers that I have heard throughout the week. It is absolutely and very much ridiculous. It really is. But here is why I have titled this show Destruction, Destructive. Destructive? Destruction. What the heck did I name this stinking thing? Destruction. There it is. Here's where this whole title of the show comes from. Right here. This is it right here. Right here. Hold on to your hats. Here it is. Destruction. Already. During the lame duck session of the outgoing Congress, Mitch McConnell and others, I don't want to say that they have shown their true colors, because, I mean, come on, let's face it. If we didn't know what was going to happen, then we're stinking idiots. And this is something that I talked about before. This is not the first time this is coming out of my mouth. And especially with McConnell. You know, McConnell was complaining during the 2022 midterm elections that, you know, we lost as bad as we lost because we didn't have good candidates. But what McConnell did not mention was that it wasn't that they weren't good candidates, it's that they weren't establishment candidates. Because he did not do anything to help, to back, to support, to finance constitutional conservatives that were running on a Republican ballot, on the ticket for them. He didn't do anything to help them out. He trashed them. He pulled funding. He made it to where several of them, he allowed them to lose. And I said this last week, because Mitch McConnell would much rather lead from the minority than be part of the majority and have to actually govern. That's the choice that he made. Because he was concerned that if enough constitutional conservatives got in there, then, well, he might lose his seat as leader. Can't be having that. And here you have over on the Senate, which, you know, I thought all bills on revenue was supposed to originate in the House. I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, call me an idiot, but I thought all bills regarding revenue was supposed to originate in the House of Representatives. You know, I thought that was a thing. But we got this omnibus spending bill that Mitch McConnell and others agreed to in the Senate. And they're like, we're going to do this because we are going to try to restrict the power of the incoming House. Instead of doing a continual resolution through to the new year, they're like, oh no, let's just go ahead and do this big old omnibus spending bill and take away any power on revenue that the incoming Republican-controlled House of Representatives will have throughout the entirety of 2023. And until what, September or October of 2023, we're going to go ahead and fund the government for another year. Instead of doing anything, instead of allowing them to actually use one aspect of the leverage that they have. They took it away. Why would Mitch McConnell and the other Republicans do that? They're not your friend. I don't know if you were as ticked about this as I was. I was pretty ticked whenever I heard this. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised in the least because I know who Mitch McConnell was. Mitch McConnell proved himself and who he was a long time ago. He's been in office for a long time. We've all known who he was. When push comes to shove, they do these resolutions. They do these whatever the spiffy name is for I'm going to talk the talk. But whenever time comes for them to walk the walk, they always fall short. It's one excuse after another. That's all we hear from establishment Republicans. It's not that we can actually govern. It's not that we can actually do this. It's not that we can lead. It's not that we can, do what we campaigned and promised that we would do. They never do that. It's one excuse after another. So we know who these people are. So should we be surprised? No. we absolutely shouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised. I mean, the fact of the matter is, guys, we have, and again, I can't take credit for this either, but these establishment Republicans aren't Republicans. It's the Republican wing of the Democrat Party. That's what it is. We as conservatives need to get serious about running for office. We as conservatives need to get serious about dismantling the establishment on the Republican branch. I mean, I'm not saying do a third party thing. I'm not even saying that, because trying to be a third wheel, on a two-wheeled vehicle, it's not an easy thing. Whenever the two wheels of the vehicle are the ones that run the show, and trying to be a third wheel, I mean, it's worse than training wheels. I mean, it really is. All right? It's going to trip you up more than anything else. What we need to do instead isn't do a third party. It's take control of the party itself. Conservatives, libertarians, I'm talking to all y'alls. We need to take control of the party. It's run for office, be the candidate that we would want to vote for, and give the voters, the American people, an alternative. We had a lot of freshmen that were on the ballots that were non-establishment. People that made it. People that made a difference. People that made significant headway. Did all of them win? No. Does that mean that we should stop fighting? No. Remember, Rocky won in the rematch. I'm not saying that we are too. It may take a few fights. It may take a few bouts. But why not? Why not keep doing it? Get involved. Get in there. Don't just... We make it big enough of a wave, then we can definitely take it over. And once we start taking it over, here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing. When we take it over, if we're able to survive that long, but if we take it over, you see, people like Mitch McConnell, we can kick them out of the Republican Party at that point. It's like, oh, wait, you want, most of your decisions are benefiting Democrats. Well, why don't you just join the Democrat Party? Oh, wait, you don't want to join the Democrat Party? That's fine. Then you can be an independent. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. This ain't your home. You're a rhino Republican. Get out of the party. You're a Republican in name only. You don't belong here. You're a Democrat. You're failing your constituents. We can take back the party if we assert our control. Absolutely. And that's very much what we need to do. It really is. We ain't got a lot of time, guys. We ain't. We don't have a lot of time. And I'm starting to lose my voice. That's funny. All right, guys, that's all I got. That really is. That's all I got. So you guys have yourself a great one. And just keep in mind, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. It ain't over. We ain't got a lot of time, but we got some time. And if we don't take control of the Republican Party, if we don't demand better from those whom we send to Washington to represent us and our best interest, if we don't start demanding of our representatives that they do their job that they were sent to Washington to do, cut back on these government regulations, get rid of the bloated government, stop giving our money to nations, to foreign nations, to foreign leaders, whenever we have people here that are hurting. We need to get control of the pocketbook of America. It's our money. It ain't theirs. And we need to get that through their thick skull. I'm curious to see what happens. Who actually becomes the Speaker of the House. I'm curious as to see what happens because I don't know yet. I know it's McCarthy's turn. And at this point, it would be different if there was somebody that could step up, that maybe wanted it, that could get it, that could garner the support. Unfortunately, there's too many establishment people in there, people that go by way of the dodo bird of, it's my turn, it's my turn. I don't care. I don't care if you ain't best suited for the job, then you shouldn't have it. But that aside, it's kind of like, all right, now hold on. Let me get a drink. I'm a Gen Xer. Okay. The attitude of my generation was FAFO. Fuck around and find out. That's the attitude of my entire generation. I completely threw my train right off the tracks. That's great. That's great. I hate whenever that happens. Where was I? I don't even remember. My brain went elsewhere, and then whenever I came back, the train was gone. For a split second. Man, I hate it when that happens. I know I saw about the establishment, McCarthy. Yeah, there we go. I got it back now. If they don't have a good alternative for Speaker of the House, then we risk somebody on the Democrat side becoming Speaker of the House. And I hate to put it like this, and this is something that Dan Kershaw even said, and I don't agree with him all the time. I definitely do not agree with him all the time. He does make some really good points, and this is one of them. Republicans need to just get in line and get behind, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but get behind McCarthy. If you ain't going to put somebody in there who is a conservative, and if you don't have the power to control the party, because unfortunately we don't, the conservatives don't outnumber the Republicans, even though McCarthy isn't going to be 100% conservative, he's still better than a 100% Democrat, okay? Just do the math. This is all about the numbers. I'm a math guy. I like math. McCarthy may be only a 50% Republican. That's it. But a 50% Republican is still better than a 100% Democrat, and that's what you're going to have if you allow the fuckery to continue. Excuse the language, I apologize. Not really. I don't like the idea of McCarthy being there. But he's still better than a 100% Democrat. If the conservatives ain't got the numbers to put forth a good candidate who is going to have, our interest in mind, the conservative movement, even be a Republican in name, in action, in voting, in everything. If you can't do that, then step aside, get in line. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I want to punch myself in the face for saying that because I don't like that at all. But running the numbers, doing the math, McCarthy at best, you're going to get a 50% Republican. But that's still better than a 100% Democrat. Do your duty. Vote for the stinking guy. I don't like him either, but vote for him. Okay? Can we just agree that much? That a 50% Republican is still better than a 100% Democrat? Because a Democrat is going to do what a Democrat is going to do, which is be all Democrat. But a Republican, a rhino Republican, is still going to at least make an attempt at looking like a Republican a little bit. 50% is still a failing grade, but like I said, a 50% Republican is still better than a 100% Democrat. Tell me I'm wrong. And mean it. Tell me I'm wrong. Granted, I would like to have an 80, a 90, a 100% Republican. I know I'm dreaming on a 100% Republican. I would at least like to have a 70 to an 80% Republican. That's at least a passing grade, 70. That's a D plus. I'm sorry, that's a D minus. A 70 is a D minus, but it's still better than a 50% Republican. I would like to have that. I would. I'd like to have that. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. That really is. I appreciate you sticking around for participating in the show. I do. Y'all are awesome and amazing, and I will see you again next week. And, by the way, before I forget, holy crap, I can't believe I gone almost this entire show without mentioning the Iguana Gang coming this December. We are but, a week away? I think that's it. Like a week and a week and a day. That is how close we are to Christmas. A week and a day. And this is going to be the 6th radio drama, but the first time that Mr. Alex Exum of the Exum Experience and Live Talk with Alex Exum has done a Christmas show. A radio drama by Alex Exum, The Iguana Gang. Just head on over to theiguanagang.com. That is TheIguanagang.com. Theiguanagang.com. Head on over there. Get your tickets today. Use promo code HOHO. That is HOHO in all caps. I don't know if it matters, but that's what I was told. And you will receive 20% off your ticket price. That is $8 instead of $10. That is amazing. So head on over to theiguanagang.com or just click down on the link below in the description and get your tickets today. That is this Christmas, just 8 days away, and you will be able to hear the Iguana Gang. Oh yeah, I'm excited. I really am. I am very excited. Head on over to theiguanagang.com. Get your tickets today. Use promo code HOHO. Don't forget, use promo code HOHO for 20% off ticket prices. All right, y'all, have yourself a great one. Until next time. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.